Alright, we're supposed to solve this using the quadratic formula, so let's go ahead and do that. You really should try to factor this, and then you'll get your answers. But if they do ask you to use the quadratic formula, it's probably because you had to. So remember that what we want to do is we want to label our A, B, and C whenever you use the quadratic formula. And so remember, the AC method is when this is actually factorable. But what we're doing is we're assuming that it's not factorable and that we're kind of stuck using the quadratic formula. And so whenever we start the quadratic formula is like always, it's a big formula. We only want to do the first part in the beginning. We just want to do the b squared minus 4ac part first. Alright? And then that makes for fewer mistakes as we kind of go through the formula. Alright, so b squared would be negative 16 squared minus 4 times a times c. Alright, well, let's figure out what that is. Now you can just type this as you see it. Negative 16 squared. Okay. Now what you do is don't put the negative sign, because if you put a negative 4, you're going to multiply by negative 4, or your screen's going to give you an error. You have to put minus, because that's what the formula is actually calling for. Alright, and you can just put the parentheses exactly as you see the formula. Okay, you get 160. Alright, so 160 means that I hit, based on, remember we talked about the discriminant, it means that I'm going to have two answers. Okay, I hit the x-axis twice. Alright, so what this means then is I want to now go to the rest of the formula. Okay, x equals negative b, which is negative 16 plus or minus the square root of 160 over 2 times a. Okay, so now what we do is we'll rewrite this as a positive 16 plus or minus the square root of 160 over 2. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to see if I can break 160 down. Okay, now I got a feeling that I'm going to be able to pull out a pair of things here. Well, that's going to be that's 4 times 10. So 16 times 10. There's a pair of 4s that I can take out immediately, and then I'll have a 10 left over, because inside 10 is just 2 and 5. Alright? So there's a pair of 2s in each one of those, and so I'm taking out 2 2s, which would give me a 4. So 4 is coming out, and I have radical 10. So the only thing, this is kind of like a complex number now. Like, this is kind of like the I. Okay? You just leave it alone. Okay, you've already figured out he has a 2 and a 5. He's unbreakable. You just leave him as he is. He's some decimal. So now what I do is I look at the 16 and the 4 and see if I can divide by 2. And I can. I can actually divide 16 by 2, plus or minus 2. That divided by 2 is 2. Radical 10. Okay, now what this represents then is the two places where you hit the x-axis. Alright, those are actually two numbers, a plus 2 radical 10 and a minus 2 radical 10. Alright, if we were to graph this guy, it would look 8 plus 2 radical 10 is like going to be 11 something, and then the other one would be over here. So we'd have this big old quadratic, okay, that looked like that. Okay, something like that. It hits in both places. Wait, 2? No, that'd be much closer. It'd be like 6 something, so it'd be look like that. Okay? Alright. Not that guy, he's not it. That was not part of the question anyway. The question is find those two solutions. Alright, 45. 45 is x squared plus 5x plus 2. Now I know that's not factorable, because there's no way that factors of 2 are going to give me 5. So this might get a little strange. I do the b squared minus 4ac. B squared is going to be 5 squared. Notice now I don't care about parentheses because he's not negative. But I do have minus 4 times a times c, which is 2. Now this is 25 minus 8, which is 517. Okay, so I'm going to hit the x-axis twice. Bring the rest of the formula in, and I get negative b. Okay, so he was positive, now he's negative. Plus or minus radical 17 over 2 times 1. Now this is great because 17 is a prime number, and so I've got 5 plus radical 17 over 2, comma, negative 5 minus. Now you could just leave the plus or minus, it's okay, but I just want you to remember that the only reason why we have a plus or minus is because they are two separate numbers, okay? If I punch this in a calculator, it's going to be different than he is, okay? Alright, that is our answer. That's our solution. 46. 46 is 2x squared minus 18x plus 5 equals 0. Now we could try the AC method, but honestly, when AC method can be kind of just as taxing as doing the quadratic formula. So sometimes I'll just go straight to the quadratic formula if I see a number. Especially if it's a number larger than 2, like, I don't know, if I saw anything larger than 5, I'd probably just use the quadratic formula anyway. Alright, 4 times A times C, this is the discriminant, so that is going to be negative 18. Notice I'm putting him in parentheses now because he's negative. Alright, minus 4 times 2 times 5. Alright, now when you get higher in mathematics, it is interesting. If you do pre-calc, you will learn where the quadratic formula actually comes from, which is pretty neat. In fact, it involves completing the square, which is what we skipped actually this year because it's used so infrequently. Well, my battery is low. How about that? Oh, interesting. I've never had that happen. I've never charged this thing. Minus 4. Trying to see if I can get away with this video without my calculator going dead. Alright, I get 284. Make sure I type that in right. 18 minus 2. Yes, 284. Alright, now 284 looks like it's got a lot going on. Definitely looks like 14, what is that? 10, 14, 5. Okay, so let's see if I can break 284 down. So 2 will definitely go in it. 1, 4, 2. Right, 1, 4, 2, and then 2 will go into that one, and it's going to be 71. Okay, so it looks like I can take out a pair of 2's. 71 is a prime number, and so it looks like it's 2 radical 71. Okay, now that's great. Now I'm just going to, I actually already simplified it. So you can simplify it at the end, okay, like what we did here, okay, or you could simplify it before you actually put it in the rest of the quadratic formula. So let's go x equals negative b, which is a negative 18, plus or minus. We got 2 radical 71 over 2 times 2, right? 2a, so 2 times 2. Alright, now I'm just taking the time to do this carefully. I want to make sure that I've got everything organized and clear, okay? And I can notice that 2 will go into all 3 of these, leaving the radical 71 alone. Alright, I'm going to divide everything by 2 and get a 2 plus or minus. B cancels out. 71 over, not 4, but 2. I'm dividing everything by 2. So this guy did actually cancel out. Yeah!